Hey, good evening, everyone, and welcome back to On the Verge, your conservative podcast of Southern Oregon. And we are happy to be back tonight. Today is April 14th, that's one day before taxes are due, unfortunately, but it's a reality we all have to live with, so something to think about. Again, we're the Conservative Talk podcast of Southern Oregon, and we only tell the truth on this show. Our intention on this show is to bring government to you. And right now, of course, we're in the middle of campaign season, so we're going to continue to bring campaign stuff to you and candidates as well. But our intention is to bring government to you and help you understand, you being everybody in our audience, understand how government really works. And it's a pleasure to do that. Now, we are a conservative talk show, so there are some folks that really don't like that kind of talk. And like I tell everybody when we get started here, if you don't like what we have to say, please come down and see Justin at Little Mill Media. He will put together a podcast for you, and you do not have to watch us. If you watch us and you don't like us, that's on you, not us. That's because you made that decision. So with that, I'm excited to have some interesting guests here tonight. So I am going to, first off, I'm going to introduce Jack Tibbetts to my right here. Jack is running for Senate District 6.
Correct.
Right? And Jack, give us a couple minutes of who you are.
Yeah. So my name is Jack, and I'm a farmer and a business owner in South Lane County. My wife and I own a farm and vineyard there, and I also raise Angus beef cattle. I've had a couple other businesses in Oregon, and I've had a long, circuitous life to getting here. Oregon is the home state of my family. And about 5 years ago, my first son, actually 7 years ago, my first son, Casey, was born, and I really just wanted to change for him. And my wife and I were living down in California, so you can haze me for that after.
And you made the right decision.
Yeah, well, hey, I voted with my feet, and I wanted to raise my son with the values that agriculture brings. So my wife and I were looking around, and we thought, well, should we go to Texas? Should we go to Idaho? Should we go to any one of these states that kind of think the way we do? And we said, nope, we're going to stake our fortune going home to Oregon, raise our children closer to their families. My family's from Tillamook, hers is from Medford. And so we arrived, and I was really adamant that I wanted to stay a mind my own business Republican just on my farm. But I think, as we all know, taxes, regulations just keep coming down the pike, and I'm the type of person where, hey, I want to stand and fight and do something about it and not just kind of yell from the bleachers. So I decided to throw in my hat for the Senate District 6.
Well, thank you for doing that. That's awesome. And it's always awesome to hear a Californian that came here and didn't bring their politics with them. Wanted to, well, I mean, technically you did because you're Republican, and that's a good thing. So we appreciate that. And also, another guest I'm excited to have is Mark Nunley. He's one of our sponsors with Looking Glass Brewery. And Mark, I can't say enough about your beer. You guys are the best beer in the state, maybe the world. I don't know, but I like it.
Well, thank you. Our world.
Mark, introduce yourself. Tell the world who you are.
Yeah, Mark Nunley. Grew up in California as well. Came to Oregon in 2008. Best decision I ever made. I love it in Oregon here. Not so much the politics, but I love the people. I love the environment. I just love the weather. I love everything about this place. Discovered great craft beer when I was here. And I retired from the federal service after 25 years of service pretty early.
NASA?
Pretty young. I was with NASA for 23 and a half years, BLM for about a couple of years.
Yeah.
And then I retired. And like I said, discovered craft beer. And I told my wife, I held one up one day and I said, I can figure out how to make this. So anyway, so that was back in 2010, and here we are. Yeah. My wife and I own Looking Glass Brewery, and it's been quite a ride. We've had a great time. We've met some amazing people.
Well, we're going to talk a little more about Looking Glass Brewery tonight too, because I think you guys are literally an anchor in Winston now. It's just without you guys there, I don't Winston would be in trouble business wise. Also to my left here is Trent Drake. He's my co-host, and Trent, remind everybody who you are.
Hey everybody, Trent Drake. I am the chair of the Douglas County Republican Central Committee, and I'm the guy that kind of is ear to the ground for our elected officials, and help them in any facet. One of the things that we do is we help convert wayward Democrats to the Republican Party, and we've done very well this year.
All right.
And of course, and then the way we got started is I've been helping Virgil on his campaign since we got started.
Yeah, and it's been very much appreciated.
Yeah.
The pay is great, right?
Yeah,
A beer once in a while.
beer once in a while, breakfast once in a while, and for some reason now I own a Jeep.
Oh yeah, there's that.
Yeah.
That's actually a really good story.
Yeah, but that was a great story. Yeah.
Yeah, no, Terrence, thank you so much for being here. And again, I'm Virgil Osborne, House District 2 State Representative, and I'm running again. And we are coming up on campaign season. I think ballots go out on the 28th of this month. So if you haven't registered to vote, I don't know if it's too late. I don't think so. Might be.
No,
It's not too late.
it's not too late. You can still get ballots at the Republican headquarters on
Yeah.
Cass Street or
Yeah.
the courthouse.
Well, keep in mind, if you are registered as an independent, you're not going to see a lot of folks on the ballot because Oregon, the primaries are closed to the party. So if you're registered as Democrat, you'll see Democrats only. If you're registered as Republican, with the exception of nonpartisan races like the commissioner race, those will be on everybody's ballot.
Right.
We'll talk a little more about the commissioners tonight as well. A couple of things I want to touch base on, and then we'll get into some stuff. I want to really kind of dig into Jack's campaign a little bit here. Let him talk a little bit. But I want to talk about Fallen Badge Award or Fallen Badge Banquet. You and I went to that this last
Yeah.
weekend. Amazing event, and I mean, it was a real tearjerker, because of why they put the event on to help the families of our law enforcement, and actually there was a fair amount of firefighters there too.
Yeah, EMTs.
EMTs, yeah.
And the thing that really impressed me was the community there that you see. Of course, we had our own
Yeah,
sheriff's department there, and it was really great to see those guys, and just how the stress of that job and what it brings. And then when one of them falls, it doesn't just affect the local community; it goes statewide.
Yeah. It was amazing that it was a black tie event, so
right.
everybody was in tuxedos and ball gowns, and and they had a nice auction, and I didn't win anything in, and
I missed Disneyland by
about 2 numbers or
2
something.
numbers to the local court judge. I think he owes me.
Yeah, but I wanted to say thank you to Brad Odell for
Yes.
one. He's the one who invited us
Yes.
with the Douglas County Sheriff's Department. Brad's not our sheriff yet. He's our undersheriff. I think he'll be running for sheriff here, probably next election when Sheriff Hanlon retires. But they just do some amazing things. And our local law enforcement, again, if you're not safe here in your homes, then nothing else matters. And our local law enforcement is amazing. I will tell you, one of the things that they have managed to do, and I know we have a horrible issue with the cartel and drugs, growing in not just Douglas County, but Jackson County, Josephine County as well. But our sheriff's department goes after them.
Mm-hmm.
And the cartel don't like that because we actually arrest people, we put them in jail, and then we burn all their crops and pisses them off. And the interesting fallout from that has been that a lot of the cartel have moved south, and so now
Yep.
Josephine County's dealing with it. So,
Representative Junker will be calling you.
yeah, I was going to say Representative Younker's probably watching tonight. If he is, sorry for your luck, but you could have been in Douglas County. I don't know what to tell you. There were 55 agencies in attendance.
Yeah.
Which there was actually a Canadian mounted police agency
Yeah.
there as well, and then I think there was
Really a neat guy too, by the way.
super neat guy, and there was an agency from Scotland, I think it
Mhm.
was.
Yeah.
And then of course even Metro Portland.
They were well represented.
They were very well represented, and what's neat about that is it's non-political, it's non-partisan, whatever. But they come to Southern Oregon and they put that on. I think that's was it the 11th annual or something like, I don't remember.
Yeah.
But I encourage anybody that would like to go to that event, look for it next year, and it's certainly an event that you don't want to miss. Also, I want to make sure everybody remembers that we do have the tax referendum coming up on the ballot, and we need to make sure we vote no. Right? We don't want that gas tax, and I haven't even seen how it's written yet, but I'm sure that the Democrats have managed to skew it so that it looks like a no vote's a bad thing. That's just what they do. So be sure to look for that on your ballot. Make sure that unless you want to pay the tax, which I don't. So, you want to make sure you vote no on that. And with that, I kind of want to jump into Jack's campaign a little bit. Jack, you kind of told us, where you're from and what you do and all that stuff. But I'd like to ask a couple questions, and anybody in the audience right now, I see it's growing. Thank you for that, and you're welcome to ask questions. We do have time today to answer those. Jack, I'm sure I put you on the spot, but I'm sure
No, please do.
to answer some of those questions. But let's talk about why, for starters, why you want to get involved.
Well, my answer isn't all that inspiring, and it's a short one, but I'm angry. I mean, I'm fed up.
That's a good one.
I mean, I think it's a motivating one, and I think there's a way to channel it in Salem where it's meaningful, but I don't have a reason other than that. Being a business owner and a business owner in agriculture, no less, is incredibly tough. And it's only gotten tough year after year that I've been operating our farm. And, I think you see kind of that going on and you think, okay, we got this new tax, we have that new regulation, can't use antibiotics on my animals anymore. So what used to cost me $40 to save a calf, now it costs $440 because you got to tack the emergency visit from the veterinarian onto that. And the list goes on. And I was kind of sitting back, just finding ways to adjust, finding ways to absorb, but it was always kind of gnawing at me. And then, what was it, 2 years ago, or maybe 4 now, when House Bill 2002 came out?
It was in 23.
23. So that was the gender affirming care bill for minors and abortion for minors. And to me, that was a moment where, like I said before, I kind of went from being a minding my own business to a pissed off Republican. And I just wanted to get in there. I have 2 boys, and my 5-year-old Casey's going to go into the public school system next year, and there's now tampons in the boys' bathroom. And I think,
Careful with that one.
I mean, it's just, to me, it's just gotten out of hand, and government has gone beyond Democrats and Republicans debating policy with their different variations to having conversations that I just scratch my head wondering why is government taking the time and staff time in Salem to draw up these types of bills. So that's kind of the reason why. But I also, above that that dissatisfaction is somebody who wants to work really hard for people.
I had a question from Jane Brown. She said, sorry I missed it, but what district is Jack running in? It's Senate District 6, and he's running against Jamie Kate. And is there anybody else running on the Republican side?
There's a woman named Nicole DeGraff.
Okay. Let's see, Becky Holmes. We're all fed up. Yes, we are all fed up. And of course, you, Jack, you haven't obviously been in the building yet, so you're not in the middle of the fight. But I welcome people into that fight because as my chief of staff who's not here, but she's technically sitting over there watching. We just battle it out all the time in the building. And I guess my second question would be this: so coming into a super minority, assuming that you get elected, I can tell you when I was elected, I had pie in the sky idea what it was going to be like. Right? I thought, man, I can really get in there and I can affect change and I can do this and I can do that. The reality of it is we're a super minority, so you don't necessarily affect change, but you certainly can have influence. How do you handle that? I mean, how do you handle conflict? And you can't punch them.
How do you handle conflict? Well,
technically you can, but
I think the first thing I would do is really make sure I'm in close coordination with the caucus and making sure that we're working together as a unified front. I would start with that, but I recognize that we're in a super minority, and when I was kind of making the decision, hey, should I do this, should I not, I really kind of weighed that question because I thought, well, I'm going to be elected for 4 years. How much impact am I going to have in that amount of time? And I tried to start thinking about ways to have an impact, not just inside the building, but outside of it. And that's something that I think all Republicans should be asking their candidates in the primary. What can you do more than just going and voting no and trying to stop Democratic legislation? And my response is, well, you always have the walkout. And I think candidates should respond to, am I willing to walk out? My answer is absolutely. If it's a really bad bill or suite of bills, and that's the last final tool, I will do that, because this for me is not a job, pay, or a pension or importance. This is about preserving Oregon for my boys so that when I'm ready to hand my farm off to them, there's something, waiting for them on the other side. The other thing is I was very inspired by what Ed Deal did. You know, we had this really horrible bill, gas tax, and what was it? There was something like 26 actual taxes and fee increases in that.
Yeah.
I mean, staggering. And it passed. And he said, you know, I'm going to go beyond that. I'm going to actually take this fight out to the street and organize people and give them information and resources to repeal it. And I think that he has set the framework for how all of us Republicans should be taking information and resources to our districts to do that very same thing, legislative session after legislative session. And my hope and my thought is that after a handful of years of doing this, maybe, just maybe, the Portland Democrats deciding legislation in Salem will finally start to say, you know, maybe we're a little bit out of touch with the majority of this state. Because I think there's a lot of kitchen cabinet issues, or excuse me, kitchen table issues that can easily be repealed by the people. So that's another thing I'd like to put my back into.
I agree, and what Ed did with the referendum was amazing. I hesitate to think that the Democrats in Portland they don't have that much sense, because, you know, recently the governor signed 1507, Senate Bill 1507, which took us out of the federal big beautiful bill for the most part, and it was the dumbest thing so far this year that I've seen him do. And Ed sat there on the House floor and told them, if you guys pass this, we will put it on the ballot in November, and it will be next to your governor. And then they still did it.
Right.
And I'm going, you guys either are not paying attention, or you're so arrogant that you think it doesn't matter. I think it matters. And
Right.
you know, and of course at the same time during that session they pulled the other referendum to May, which was on purpose because of the attendance and the voting and stuff. And so it'll be interesting to see how this goes. And I know, I believe that referendum the sheets are going to be out, I think Thursday possibly, or Friday this week. And they're going to
I have a date on that.
Got an update on that?
For 17th is what I heard.
Okay.
Yeah.
So then we will start collecting signatures to get that on the ballot. And, you know, frankly, I think people are fed up. I think people are fed up with our governor. I think people are fed up with our legislature, because we just keep screwing the state up. Regarding the walkout, I think that the walkout it's a nuclear tool, because once you let it go, you're done, right? You're out. Every year that I've been in the legislature, and this is going into my fourth, I hear when it comes to like the gun bills, or when it comes to abortion bills or whatever, people really pressure us to walk out. And the problem with a walkout in a superminority in the House is that you may not get the seats back, right? Especially those seats that are in swing districts. When you walk out, like for instance, let's pick on Kevin Mannix for a minute. Kevin typically doesn't walk out. If he does, there's a risk that when he comes back, we go from the superminority to deeper into that superminority. Once we get to 20, and that's what people don't understand about politics, it takes 36 votes to pass a tax bill. They already have that. They have 36, which means we have 24. I think that's right. I could be 23 now, but
23.
with Javity's change, it's 23. So we're 3 seats away from it not mattering anymore. I mean, once they get to 40, they don't need us to do business. They just do business without us. We can walk out and leave whatever we want. So you got to be really strategic when you walk out, which is what we typically do. You know, some of us walked out on it was a gun bill this year, to try to block some of that thing. And the problem was, it did affect it, right? We moved the date farther out that we wanted to do. And then of course, I get this freaking newspaper reporter calling me like, hey, you missed 34 votes this year. And, it's like, well, yeah, I missed 34 votes. Well, why? I'm like, because I walked out. Well, you're not doing your job. No, I did my job. That's exactly why I walked out. I mean, it's like, I'm not going to vote on stuff and that's why I told the lady, I said, with all due respect, first off, newspaper reporters, I have a hard time with, right? Because whatever you say, unless it's if it's on TV, it's a little different, because even though they cut them, right?
Yeah.
But the newspaper reporters that I've talked to, I'm not going to say locally, but I'm going to say the Capital Chronicle and what are the other ones? Oregonian. This was the Oregonian. I told her, I said, look, you are reporting on a story that you do not understand. I go, Republicans left the building for reasons. And we didn't come back for reasons that day and the day, there was another day too. And I go, what you're going to say is going to skew the reality of it. And well, we think it's important to get, I said, well, I think you're screwing up. And they did it anyway. Right. And they, thankfully the story didn't really go anywhere, but it's like, if you don't think I represent my district, just say it. And I will still tell you you're full of shit. So anyway, you guys got any questions for Jack, Mark?
Well, I think it's awesome, especially someone from an agriculture background, because, like I say, I do a lot of ranches and stuff, and one of the fastest emerging markets in the state of Oregon is cattle ranching, and yet they want to find a way to take that away. I mean, you're looking at hundreds and hundreds of employees. I have one client alone, just on his ranch, he employs 37 full-time cowboys.
Yeah. Wow.
And a big ranch, and it's like, why would you take that away? Why would you, put one more nail into the bankruptcy coffin?
Looking Glass Brewery.
Well, it's certainly true that you can get a death by 1,000 cuts as a business owner.
Right.
And I think too many people who haven't had the opportunity to run a business just won't understand that. And that's why I think bringing people to Salem with that background brings a really important perspective.
Oh, absolutely.
Well, I can tell you, I sit on those business committees, a couple of them, and when I look around the committee, there's not that many people there that ever sign the front side of a paycheck, and it really irritates me. And then I get, like, Daniel Wynn is our small business and economic development chair. He's a Democrat. Of course, every committee is going to be a Democrat led, but he has, I don't know how many restaurants in the Portland metro area and other urban areas, I think in Washington. And it's like, he knows when the bill's bad. And he has stopped some things, and he has voted against the unions and now they're primarying him.
Really?
Yeah, because he's a Democrat and he didn't toe the line.
Yeah.
And this is how politics works. And people talk about corrupt politics and all this crap. Politics is corrupt. There's no question about it. You need to understand it before you can actually say politics is corrupt and here's why. And what I get a lot, the social media warriors is like, oh yeah, everybody's corrupt and the whole politics. No, that's not true. There's a lot of good folks, and there's a lot of good folks on both sides of the aisle, Democrats and Republicans. Some of those good Democrats can't vote the way they want to vote because they'll get primaried and they'll lose their seat. Well, that's no big deal. They should lose their seat. You don't want the guy that's coming behind them.
Because they're worse.
They're worse. That every single Democrat, this is as long as I've been in there, that either, and again, some of them have passed away and some of them have been primaried, the replacement has been worse. It's been more liberal, and then of course, Javity. I mean, Javity's like, I don't even want to go there. I can't even talk about the guy. It makes me want to throw up. But Mark, got any questions for Jack?
No, but just from the brewer standpoint, we have a lot of hop farming in Oregon. So representation for some of our hop farms would be amazing because we can use, small businesses like ours can use all the help we can get, including with like taxation, things like that. Absolutely.
So do you contract with farmers for your hops, or do you grow them?
A lot of breweries do. We're too small, so we just buy it by spot price. Yeah.
Which is another re-emerging market. Oregon used to be big on hops when I was a kid. You go I-5 north towards Brownsville, they're on both sides of the highway, and it went away, and now it's making a comeback in a big way.
So since we're talking about business, Senate Bill 1507 undid Trump's big beautiful bill, and one of those things that it undid was the 1-year depreciation write-off on equipment. I don't know how that affected you guys' business, but there were businesses out there that made purchases banking on the big beautiful bill. Okay, well, tell us about that.
So I'm glad you asked about that. I really did. I went out and made a lot of investments in bonus depreciation and that decoupling, and I was expecting to get a big chunk back, and I planned my next few months financially around that. But now, instead of getting a return, I'm going to be paying about $6,000, which I was not expecting to do. So it really, I think it did come down to the state's side of the ledger. I mean, my hand's in the air. I saw one big beautiful bill pass, and I thought, great, bonus depreciation is a game changer for business owners. We now get to capitalize on new equipment, things that I've been needing for the last 5 years that I've been, putting together with gum and duct tape this whole time, but not in the cards for the next year or two.
And I preach this all the time to my financial clients. That's the velocity of money.
Yeah.
And they just put a bullet hole in the velocity of money. They don't put that, you don't put that in your pocket. You reinvest it back into your business to grow and to move forward and to feed your family.
Right.
Yeah, and that's the problem with, and I hate to pick on Democrats, but I don't know what else to call them. I mean, it's the problem with Democrats. I mean, they do not understand that.
Mm-hmm.
And the fact is, you're a business owner, so you're bad.
Mm-hmm.
You should be paying more taxes. You should be supporting homeless people. You should be doing all these things. It's like, well, yeah, but you can't do it if you can't make any money.
Right.
So it's like, socialism is like a tick. It eats the host until the host dies, and then socialism dies, right? And that's what I feel like this whole state has been for a lot of years now. We are literally killing our state by 1,000 cuts. You're right. You're right. Mark, you have a business too. I don't know if you've recently made any investments or not, but I'll just let you comment on this. One of the things that the governor did at the last minute was create this Prosperity Council. And her Prosperity Council was going to find ways to make Oregon business friendly, more business friendly. Right after that, she disconnected from 1507. Or disconnected with Senate Bill 1507, which took away that, also took away a bunch of other things, including your, what did it take away? The car interest loans. You can't write your car interest loan off and that kind of stuff. It's like, has that affected your business at all?
I don't think so. Most of our purchases were way back in 2019, 2020. We bought recently a tap trailer, but that's about it. As far as big purchases, that's about all we've done recently. So I hate to say, but
probably, well, I mean, you're a small business.
Yeah, we're very, very small. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I look at it and I go, I know why she created her Prosperity Council. She did it because it was an election year.
I was just going to say.
And, a good friend of mine, Toby Luther, was tapped out to be on that Prosperity Council. And they recently had a meeting and they brought us all in to kind of talk a little bit about it. And I feel bad for Toby because he's very conservative, very good. He's the president of Lone Rock Resources. They have timber and, pizza joints and everything else. And, he understands, they collectively have tried to talk to the governor. It doesn't matter. I mean, she should have vetoed that bill. Now, hopefully she'll eat it in November. Hopefully. That's my prayer. Let's real quick. I want to keep going, but we're about halfway into our hour here, and I want to talk about our sponsors. And I'm going to just go ahead and let Mark talk about Looking Glass Brewery because he is one of our newest and arguably one of our favorite sponsors.
You just like our beer, that's why.
Yes, sir.
Well, I
That's
appreciate
a good start.
I appreciate that very much. So we're coming up on 10 years of being in Winston, believe it or not. So we started there in April of 2016. We have a 10-year anniversary party coming up next Saturday, April 18th, and it's going to be an all-day party. It's going to be cornhole in the morning. We're going to have a couple of bands there. Rockwork Orange will be playing at 4 o'clock.
Wow.
Yeah, we have Flashback at 7 o'clock.
Right.
They're both great bands. Tia's Tacos will be there serving food. The Pizza Bus will be there serving food. We have lots of beer on tap. We have about 15 beers on tap, a couple of some ciders, some seltzers, just a little bit of everything. We have some wine. So it's going to be an all-day party, and that's going to be on the 18th, this coming Saturday.
But you're going to have 15 on tap too?
Absolutely. That's a year-round beer. People love that beer. I've had to up the production on it. People love that beer.
So the backstory on
Bad Habit
15,
Blonde.
Bad Habit Blonde. Mark and I probably, I don't know, what's it been, 6 years ago maybe?
Long time, yeah.
Something like that.
Yeah.
I was at Looking Glass Brewery talking to him about it. I said, you really should create a beer for my little race business I have, because we have this, we at the time we had these blonde gals that were modeling for us. We also had this really cool logo, of a Jeep, we still race. But, we started talking about Bad Habit Blonde and everything. And it took you a couple years kind of to come up with it. And I remember saying, I'm not a hoppy kind of guy, right? My beer's got to taste like Coors Light. It's got to feel.
That's not beer.
Well, I mean, and I said, and my friends are the same way. They're going to want to drink a lighter beer. And by God, you guys came up with a beer that I mean, I'm not a microbrew fan necessarily. I could drink that any day, and I do. I mean, it's amazing, right. And I really, really appreciate the fact that you let me be part of it.
Absolutely, it was fun. It was fun developing the beer. At the time, I was developing this series called the T- series. at the time.
Yeah.
And so I have about 5 beers in the series, and that just happens to be the lightest beer that I can possibly brew for you. So
What can I say?
So we incorporated it into the T- series, but we also call it Bad Habit Blonde at the same time. We put his logo on the tap handle and whatnot. So yeah, it was kind of fun developing the beer.
I like his latest. Your
Harvest Time Wheat.
the wheat. Yeah, it's a really cool spin on a what the Europeans called a wit,
Yeah.
and it with a little orange slice in it. Man,
Yep.
it covers the bases in a big way.
We brew that beer with a little bit of dried orange peel.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so when you add the orange slice to it, it just kind of brings out
That's
the flavor.
good stuff.
Yeah.
Well, and one of the things, and I'm going to brag a little bit about Mark and Looking Glass Brewery, one of the things that they have always done, literally since almost the beginning of Champagne Creek Ranch, and Champagne Creek Ranch is our nonprofit that we have here locally, is they've always supported. They've always been to, I think, all of our events that we put on, and they supply the beer, and of course they come in the night before and they help us set up, and they're just amazing. And having you guys at our event attracts people. I mean, you advertise that Looking Glass Brewery is going to be somewhere, people show up, and you know, on top of the fact it's good beer, Mark and Lydia are great people, and also Bubba. I mean, I can't leave Bubba out. I mean, I mean the guy is amazing with the kilt. So anyway, I also want to say that if you've been following my social media feed, you see that Champagne Creek Ranch just donated another $3,000 check from our last event to Greater Douglas United Way. I wrote the check here this week, and we also donated some money to another one of the local nonprofit clubs as well. So I want people to understand that, and this is interesting to talk about real quick, and to touch on Champagne Creek Ranch, we have caught a lot of blowback over the years because the commissioners gave us this property and we're making money on it. It's all BS. So our board is not allowed by bylaw to make $1 off any of that property. And we do not. In fact, between the 5 of us on the board over since 2017, we figured we probably spent $200,000 of our own money to keep the property up. Prior to that, the property was owned by Douglas County. It was not buildable, still not buildable. We have basically useless property, and it was not. It was not an asset to the county, and it brought in 0 tax dollars because it was owned by the county. Since we have taken over the property, we do pay some taxes. We are a nonprofit. We do pay some taxes, especially the DFPA and all that kind of stuff. But every year we do an event. We do several events. Every year we do canned food drive. And this last year we kicked in, I don't know, God, it was 3,000 plus pounds, I think, of canned food. I don't remember the number. And it was an amazing canned food drive. But we also do an event, usually a poker run or some sort of a challenge, and we raise funds from local businesses. They help us out with the sponsorship and then, of course, entry fees. We write a check back to the community. And this year we wrote literally $4,000 worth of checks. If we were just paying pure property taxes on a property, that wouldn't cost that much. Probably would have been $2,500 in property taxes. But we're actually taking that money and it goes right back to United Way. And that money is earmarked to be spent right here in Douglas County. It has to be for access for handicapped people into an outdoor experience. And if you don't know us, ask me, call me. Don't assume because, Virgil's making all this money. Trust me, I'm not. And we actually, thankfully, we have good commissioners that allowed us the opportunity to be something, prior to that, it was just a worthless piece of property. But now it is useful to the community, and it is open to the community with a waiver right to pass. So we're proud of it, and we're happy to have Looking Glass Brewery as a sponsor. I think we're going to keep your sign up there if you don't mind.
I don't mind at all. I appreciate the advertisement.
Absolutely. Amazing people. We have amazing sponsors, actually. And with that, we have a few more. Trent, who else do we have as sponsors?
Well, we got Bob Murray Trucking. Bob and his wife Kimmy are right now, as we speak, on a plane on the way home from Hawaii. So Bob said he was sending some aloha back. I said, that's good because it got cold and rainy here since he left. But
I think our winter started over again.
I know. Bob Murray Trucking hauls 1 million pounds of earth every day.
Every day.
Whether it's lumber, logs, rock, all kinds of building material, even hay and grass, hay, and alfalfa. for the ranchers. He's has an A-Train Maxi for the full 32-ton load, which is it's very cool, and his motto is "You call, we haul, and that's all." And
Well,
a great sponsor of this
of the show.
and the Republican Party, by
I
the
was
way.
going to say, and if you've seen any of Bob's trucks rolling down the highway lately, they've got Ed Deal signs on the back of the lumber loads.
Yeah.
I was wondering whose company that was.
Yeah.
That's Bob
Yeah.
Murray. Yep.
Yeah, I got a call from Portland. Who's Bob Murray?
Yeah. Bob's an amazing guy. We also have our commissioner, Chris Boyce, is a sponsor of this show, and I do endorse Chris Boyce. In fact, Trent and I have endorsed all three commissioners, and Chris occasionally comes on our show, and I believe next week we have Commissioner Freeman coming on our show, and he's going to be talking about state of the county and a few other things as well. We also have, let's see, Senator David Brock-Smith, lest I forget, last but not least, of course. David Brock-Smith is also a sponsor of this show. He occasionally makes appearances on the show as well, and he is running against Jeff Merkley for the federal position. And we, of course, endorse him and wish him all the luck in the world. And, I used to see him often. Right now, he is literally beating the pavement to death because he is all over the state.
He's a beast. He's working it.
He is working hard, and I think Merkley's paying attention.
Yep.
Because I think he realizes this could be a real, for once, a challenge.
Yep.
So, David, if you're watching, we love you, man, and we hope the best for you. Also, Twin Peaks Off-Road, my business, is always part of this show. That's because I'm the owner. So we love the show. We love our sponsors, and please know that we're there for you if you need any help with your off-road vehicles, Jeeps, or if you just need a mall crawler, we build those too. So we don't mind doing that. And Becky Holmes, a good friend. Becky Holmes, she helps people with Medicare. She helps people with Marketplace. She does life insurance too, and she does dental insurance, hospital indemnity, term care policies, and cancer policies. And she said, do you know that 33% of people will at some point be diagnosed with cancer? Interesting. I did not know that number. Precision Care Cancer Insurance goes beyond conventional coverage, providing essential cash. Let's start over with that. Insurance goes essential cash payments and granting you access to TGen's world-class genomic sequencing. I cannot pronounce this crap. This is a NASA guy. You should probably be reading
That's
this.
because you're from
I
Winston.
don't even know what genomics is, but okay. This comprehensive approach is designed to enhance your chances of overcoming a cancer diagnosis. Call my friend Becky for all your personal insurance needs. She helped me, and she can help you too. 541-900-6001. That's 541-900-6001. Becky does an amazing job. She did help me with my wife's insurance situation, Social Security, Medicare, Medicaid, or I don't know. Anyway, by all means. Also, Andrea Williams Advocare. I think she's still with us for now. Feeling sluggish or just worn down from the gloomy weather or back to school grind. I think this is a little bit old ad or something like that. But anyway, it's time to get your energy and confidence back. Andrea Williams Advocare helps people clean away those nagging mental cobwebs, lose weight, boost energy with Spark, and feel incredible again. Visit healthyhabittribe.org. That's healthyhabittribe, all one word, .org, or reach out to Andrea Williams on Facebook and start feeling amazing today. We do use her product, and she is an amazing sponsor as well, good conservative sponsor. Of course, we already covered Looking Glass Brewery, Little Mill Media, and also now Spider King Studios helps us out here too.
Yeah.
Great folks. They are the folks in Douglas County. I mean, if you want to do some sort of a media or, video commercials or whatever you want to do, there's really nobody else to do it. These are the guys, and they do an amazing job with it. So we appreciate them. And we appreciate the fact that they let us do a conservative podcast in this studio. We're in the middle of our headquarters here, which is, I don't know, it's got to be 4,000 square feet or something like that. And it's, you can only see us, but there's a whole bunch more room behind us here that they do some stuff in. So I think that covers most of our sponsors for this time around.
I think we did it.
I am terrible at reading commercials too. I'm sorry. We probably ought to do this better, but you know what? It doesn't matter.
Nah.
We'll get them out there, and we appreciate all of our sponsors. Okay, let's go back to Jack. I'm sure you've got a message. Tell us what I'll just call it your agenda for your campaign.
My agenda. So let me start with some of the the issues. Earlier we were talking about businesses struggling in Oregon and the Prosperity Council. And when you were talking about that, it got me thinking, because I tracked a little bit of it. And a lot of the stuff that I heard was unions, prevailing wage, subsidies for certain types of business attraction and incubation. And I thought, probably the single greatest thing that we could do in Oregon to first stop businesses from leaving, because I actually read a statistic the other day that in the last 5 fiscal quarters, we've had 35,000 net lost jobs in Oregon. I mean, that's crazy. And I don't know if you've heard something different, Virgil, please correct me, but
the numbers, they're pretty close.
yeah. And so I go to the cat tax. I don't think there's any doubt in my mind that was implemented about 6 years ago now. Mm-hmm. And now we're just starting to see these large businesses, these big ships start to alter course out of the state. And what gets me fired up about that too is, when you look about how the cat tax came about, the history of it is well, they needed funding for schools. Well, why did they need funding for schools? Because we stopped going after timber, perhaps one of our biggest resources for generating income for schools and roads and counties and the state in general. And so to me, I call that the circular firing squad of Democratic policy, is that, they try to solve this problem, which creates a domino effect of others. And the response, instead of going back and looking at state budgets and really trying to make cuts and identify, hey, what program on our books do we even need anymore? I mean, how often is that happening? I assume the Republican caucus is doing that, but why isn't the legislature as a whole doing that? And instead, let's go back to the trough of the taxpayer and ask for money in the form of more taxes. So that's something that I want to see come to an end. I also want to explore other policies. It's almost easier for you guys to just ask me what issue, how would I address it? Homelessness, law. I mean,
well, and we're going to touch on homelessness, but I want to go back real quick to the cat tax. I like to explain to our viewers what everything really is, and acronyms, sometimes people don't understand what a cat tax is. So a cat tax is a corporate activities tax, and what happens is in Oregon, this passed again about 6 years ago, I think it was. If you have a business and you do $1 million worth of business, doesn't mean you made any profit. You could do $1 million and lose 50,000. You will pay 0.5%. I think it is right now, 0.5% tax, which is essentially a sales tax on every dollar you did gross. So it basically incentivizes business they decentivizes people to sell, because if you get to that $1 million threshold, then you're going to have to pay 0.5% back on, which doesn't sound like a lot of money to some folks, but it is significant, especially when you look at a business like, for instance, Nike, and I ran a bill in 23 to try to undo the ceiling. I wanted to raise the ceiling to $5 million to help out the small business world. Mm-hmm. And to me, I was like, well, that's a no-brainer. This should be easy to go. It was amazing how many hundreds of millions of dollars that it actually cost the state. And they did a study for me before we ran the bill, and I want to say it was going to be like a $500 million hit to raise the ceiling from 1 million to 5. And so clearly that one died. But also the death tax is another thing that's really important to people, and I know I've had lots of people really, really want that undone. We're working on it. Trust me, it's not a day goes by I don't think about these things, and we're starting to write bills right now. In fact, today my chief of staff started putting together a bill for some other stuff. So yeah, it's definitely important. Now, I do want to touch on homelessness. Mm-hmm. Of course, the state has a horrible homeless problem, and Southern Oregon particularly has a horrible homeless problem right now. Well, I shouldn't say that. Portland's the worst, but what would you do? I'm putting you on the spot.
Yeah.
How'd you fix it?
Well, I think where we've gone astray is in House Bill 3115, the bill that basically made the Martin v. Boise decision the law of the land. So for people watching, that means that for a long time, Oregon, because of Martin v. Boise, local cities and counties couldn't move people from where they sat, lied, or slept. And then the U.S. Supreme Court heard Martin v. Boise and overturned it. But what Oregon did in its infinite wisdom was before that overturning, they passed 3115, which made the Martin v. Boise decision the law of the land. And I've worked with homeless people. I actually am very compassionate. But one thing that I have seen go so wrong within homelessness is that this idea that you can't create any discomfort in somebody's life. Because what you're doing is you're changing the situation from just trying to relentlessly be compassionate and help them, from creating just a little bit of discomfort, which is a motivator. I mean, let's face it, in our lives, we usually only make a change if we're not happy with the situation that we're in. So if you just let people sit, lie, and sleep and do whatever they want, wherever they want, you're not creating that modicum of discomfort to make them go, hey, maybe there is a better way to live my life. Maybe there is an opportunity for me to go out and be productive. Because when we look at everything that Oregon has to offer to people who are homeless, I mean, I feel like you should be able to get up and get help and move on and lead a productive life. So I think 3115 is something that really needs to be revisited. I mean, I think it needs to go away. I think local jurisdictions need to have the right to enforce their local camping ordinances and things that they have on their books to make it easier for citizens to enjoy their public parks, make it easier for businesses to do business and not have to deal with somebody maybe sleeping on your doorstep and leaving a bunch of stuff behind. And I think there's ways to do it too. And Virgil, you were alluding to earlier, how are you going to get things through with the Democratic supermajority? Well, I think if you look at a lot of these cities and certainly counties, they're already spending a lot of money on anti-homelessness efforts. And I think if those cities and counties are doing that, then they should have the ability to opt out of the House Bill 3115 law. So if you're basically a community saying, we're making these investments to give people a hand up, not a handout, then they should have the ability to use law enforcement, use code enforcement to move people as necessary.
Interesting, and I know we're doing all the talking, guys, so feel free to jump in. Interesting point here. In this last session, we passed a $360 million bill to fund the Moda Center to refurbish it or whatever it is for a billionaire who bought the Trailblazers. $360 million. Now, our Democrats say they hate billionaires. They don't like Donald Trump. He's a billionaire. They don't like anybody that's a millionaire. They really hate billionaires. They passed that bill because, I guess, so we can keep the Trailblazers in Portland, right? Because, and I don't know that there's any restrictions that the guy has to keep them there. He might keep them there 5 years. He might keep them there 20. I don't know. But that's taxpayer money to a city that's $160 million in the hole for homeless services, right? $160 million.
Well, and also to your point, do no harm. It's raining outside right now. We can hear it. And we've got a park right over here where there's a whole park of homeless people sleeping in the damn mud.
Yeah.
How's that not doing any harm? But they won't look at that.
So interesting. I'll just tell you, I work with Democrats and Republicans. Some people I think I'm this crazy right-wing wacko, and I'm not. I mean, I'm sympathetic to people that need help. And just this week, I had a conversation with a local Democrat who's just a super good guy, and we talked about that camp. And I said, I don't think those camps are the answer. I don't think tents. And he said the same thing. I think there needs to be a solution, and we do have the Gary Leaf, what do you call it, that center here. We've got those tiny homes, and I've seen the tiny home model work in some other places. Eugene, I think, has one. I think Grants Pass is starting to do it again. There's some validity to that, but like I told him, and I think he agreed with me, you can't just put somebody in a home and then leave them there.
Yeah.
You have to motivate them. It's got to be a move up, move on scenario. And Commissioner Freeman and I had a long discussion about this, a week or so ago. And you get our local Democrats, particularly, they'll complain because they don't want this new 20-acre split off ranches and stuff. They don't want any growth, but they want homes. And it's like, and I say, it's like, you can't have growth without a place to build homes. And we have a homeless issue. Part of the homeless issue is obviously jobs and the economy, but there's no place for them to live. They have no place to go. And our building restrictions in Oregon are so tight, especially here, we have wetlands everywhere. You can't build anything.
Right.
And they don't want to change any of that. They want it all left alone because it's the environment. It's like, you got to make a decision. At some point, we're creating these classes of people because of the fallout, because of our actions that we take in the legislature. Some of it has to do with the environmental issue. I mean, people are like, well, we don't want to do that because we're going to pollute the river. There's a whole bunch of people pooping in the river right down the street here.
Yep.
And they pee in the river and they do everything else in the river. Who knows what they do? They should probably be living somewhere in a shelter. Of course, the shelters require you have to be clean. You can't use drugs in a shelter, which eliminates, the problem just goes on and on. Yes, Tracy, thank you. Navigational Center. And the Navigational Center, Gary Leaf Navigational Center, does actually, you can go there, but you have to have a plan to move on. And I think that's compassionate. I think to just go to a place and be a drug addict until you die is not compassionate.
No, it's not.
Yeah, and putting them in tents. And I think I heard yesterday that even the governor is like saying, hey, no more tents. I don't know if you've been to Salem lately, but
I did see a few last time I was there.
It's horrible. Usually in a campaign year when she's up for election, she'll clean it up. I don't know what's happening right now. I don't know if she's just asleep. Frankly, I think that she's got this thing in the bag is what she thinks, and she's not worried about it. So I don't know. You guys must have some questions for Jack.
Well, I think, one of the things I really liked is, you want to work with the caucus, and there's a big message to everybody out there. Because there's always those people that, they have all the answers, but yet they don't know how anything works, which we found out last week.
That's why we have this show.
Yeah.
We are trying to teach people how government works.
Yeah. And, if we could just get every angry Republican, because you're not the only one, you're sitting with a group of them, going in the same direction, the state changes.
Yeah, it does.
And we say it every week. We're one governor away. We're 16 senators. We're 31 state representatives
from being great.
Away.
Yep. Well, I hope I'm not wrong, but I do feel like there's a shift happening. And maybe it's because I live in my little microcosm of South Lane County, Cottage Grove, but
Lane County's shifting overall.
I think it is. In fact, I was talking to our former chair not long ago, and he was telling me that I think there was 15,000, no, not that high, 1,500 new Republican registrants last year alone.
Yeah.
And
how many here?
Well, let's see. We are in the neighborhood of just this year. We're in the neighborhood, not including the end of last year, of 526 something. And
yeah,
we're doing a meet and greet next week for all the new Republicans, or I would say anybody wants to come, and just come down and meet us. And you're going to be there, right?
I'm speaking.
Oh, that's right. That's right.
So I better be.
Yeah.
And my security detachment's also going to be there. I found out today too, which is kind of nice.
Oh, I like those guys.
They're good guys.
Yeah. So I can wear my gun.
I don't care.
Oh, I got a new great big
Good
one.
guys with guns are always a good problem.
I have to limp the barrel's so long. No,
Yeah. Well, again, and this show, when Trent and I started this, our intention was to bring politics to reality, right? We're not always right. I mean, sometimes, I've been wrong. There's some things I've said and I've had to correct myself on it, because I'm not perfect. But the reality of it is I do know how the building works. I do know how the legislature works. And every year I'm there, I learn more. But I also know that locally our commissioners, there's a process on how things work. And I hear just all the time, we need change. I 100% agree. We need some more Republicans. We don't need more Democrats in the doggone legislature. We need change, and we need some common sense. Hell, I would just be happy with common sense.
Yeah.
Right? There just isn't any common sense that happens in that building right now. And it just drives me crazy. I do always kind of get on my stump a little bit about, we have, I think, 13 people running for 3 positions in Douglas County for the commissioners right now. If you're not qualified to run for commissioner and you're out there preaching stuff that commissioners don't do, that you're going to fix and you're going to do that. And most recently we have another Republican that's running, and she calls herself a Republican, that she's going to, I think I read the other day, she's going to get rid of property tax. She's going to take property tax away. And I'm like, really? Okay, so property taxes in Douglas County don't even bring in enough money to pay for the entire budget of our sheriff's department. So while you're in the process of taking away property taxes, I guess we don't need a law enforcement agency either. Just ridiculousnesses like that. People need to understand that the commissioner job is a tough job. and you are basically managing a $200 million or whatever it is budget, and you are the boss. And if you can't do it better, then don't try. If you don't have the
Well,
experience.
at least know what you're saying. And
Yeah.
right now, I have not heard a single opponent of our three commissioners that have said anything that made any sense to prove to me that they know what they're doing.
Yeah.
And I said it.
Yeah.
And they should all step down, in my opinion.
I mean, I commend and admire anybody that runs for office, right? It's a it's a bitch. I mean, it's not
a lot of
easy.
time.
And frankly, at least for the positions you're running for and the one I'm in, they don't make any money. I mean, it costs money. Again, today this guy posted something on social media about how they should take away all of our per diem. I'm like, how do you think a Republican rural legislator pays to go to Salem for 6 months? We don't, we have to be able to pay to stay where we're going to stay. We have to be able to pay for our food and our lodging. It's $178 a day that you get paid while you're in Salem. I can't rent a hotel room in Salem for that.
Right.
So
Not a nice one, anyway.
No. No.
A no-tell motel.
Yeah, I mean, I know it would be fantastic if we, and the same person said something about, we until the median income of Oregonians raises to the point of blah blah blah. I'm like, we're so far under the median income in Oregon as legislators. Frankly, we should be paid more, but there's not a legislator that I know of the 90 that are in Salem that are all going to back a bill to do that, because guess what? You'd be the next guy out the door.
Yep.
Because everybody thinks we should do the job for free. Now, we do. I mean, literally, I spend more money out of my pocket every year than I get paid to be able to go to the events I go to do all the stuff we do. Of course, some of that's campaign funds. I mean, I'm not going to sit here and lie to you and tell you every dollar comes out of my pocket, but we don't do the job for the money. I do, and I'm sure you will too. We do the job because we love the people in Oregon and we love our communities and we want to see Oregon thrive.
Yeah.
And if we can't thrive, then we're going to go down fighting. I mean, I'm not ready to leave. I call them out all the time in Salem, and they might get past me, but they're going to earn every freaking bit of it.
Yeah. And I think that's it for me too, is if you're going to go down, you want to go down with a fight. I've invested too much in this state, and my family's been around for a long, long time. So there's this connection to it. Yeah. And when you see it mismanaged, you want to put up a fight.
Oh yeah, and I think that's important. And I hate to say it, we're coming down to the end of our hour. This podcast is rebroadcast on like 13 different. We're YouTube, Apple Music, Amazon Music. I got a list somewhere. Also, after I think elections are over, we will be back on the radio or something along those lines. So we're rebroadcast on our local radio stations too. So Justin has part of his job is to cut out the cuss words. I've only dropped, I think, 2. So
I was trying to be really good.
Yeah, you did good.
Good.
And I try not to, but sometimes, man, I tell you, there's a lot of passion in what we do. And the passion is this is not about my ego. I have no ego in this. This is about the people that I represent. And I'm not out campaigning. I'm doing this instead because I think people need to know the truth of what's going on in Douglas County and in Southern Oregon. And we have just, I remember when we started this podcast, I was worried about whether or not we were going to get people to come on. It's like we have a waiting list. I mean, people want to talk. They want to talk about what they are. And of course, our sponsors are always welcome to come on. And Mark, I hope you come back.
Absolutely.
Hell, you can be our third anytime if you want to come and hang out. Just bring beer next time.
Absolutely, I will.
You can't. You don't have to bleep beer out, right, Justin?
I didn't know that was the protocol, but now I know.
So Jack, I'm gonna do this because I can, and I'm probably not supposed to, but I really don't care. I think from what I've read about you, what you've said, I'm going to endorse you.
Thank you.
So absolutely,
that means a lot.
I
really
appreciate it. Yeah, absolutely. So for what it's worth, you have my endorsement. I can't speak for Trent or Mark.
You got mine, man.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Thanks, guys.
Yeah.
I'll come see you and buy some
We
beer.
did
There you
have
go.
a question on the governor endorsement. If
Yeah.
apparently this person hadn't heard you and I had endorsed a governor candidate.
Well, I have a list right here, so let me just go over that list real quick. So endorsements for governor. I have endorsed Ed Deal, and I think Ed Deal is, I don't care if you don't endorse Ed Deal. If you like somebody else, Great. I like Ed Deal. I've worked with Ed. I trust Ed. I mean, literally, we came into the legislature together. We've worked on bills together. I mean, the guy is solid.
Yep.
And plus, he can give a hell of a floor speech and talk about the upside down and everything else. I'll argue he's almost as good as me. No, I'm just kidding. So I've endorsed Ed Deal. Now, I think Trent also did.
I did, yep.
And Ed will be back. He's actually coming to Roseburg here in a couple of weeks.
Yep, the 30th.
The 30th, yeah, he'll be here. And I just got a message from his campaign manager. They want to do a meet and greet here too. So he'll probably be back down prior to or maybe just after. I've also endorsed Dan Farrington, who is the guy that's we think would be a good replacement for Ed when Ed's the governor and his seat is empty. So, and then of course I and Trent, I think, both endorse all three commissioners. Again, I can't speak for
Absolutely.
Mark, but
Yep.
we endorse all three commissioners. And frankly, you don't have to love our commissioners, but I think there's nobody else qualified to do the job they do. So, I can't go out and say, well, this guy's better because I know the job. I mean, and that's the thing. People get so mad sometimes because I won't come out against the commissioners or I won't come out against David Brock-Smith. I am a state representative. I work with all of them. I literally talk to our commissioners daily, almost without exception every day, at least one, sometimes all three. That's how this works. The commissioners do things, the state reps do things, the senators do things. We work together to bring prosperity, hopefully, to this district. You can't be the odd guy out. I mean, you can. I mean, you can, but you're not going to get anywhere, and you're certainly not going to do your district any good if you're not working with the leadership. Fortunately for me, all of our leadership is Republican,
Right.
but there are districts where we have Republican representatives and Democrat senators, and vice versa, and they still have to work with them.
Right.
You can't, or you walk away, and that's not doing your job.
Yep.
Also, Clara Lynn, who is running for, I don't remember the district. I think it's District 9, Boomer Wright's district. Boomer has retired or is in the process of retiring. And so I've also endorsed and actually sent money to Clara Lynn as well. And of course, Jack. I haven't sent you any money yet, but.
Oh, geez, this got better and better.
Well, I tell you got to talk to that gal sitting over there in the corner, that chief of staff of mine. She's got the checkbook, so she might be able to cut some money. I personally never write checks. And I never handle money. Anything inbound goes to her. Of course, I get a readout. I get a printout every time we take anything in, but I don't ever want to be accused of being corrupt, right? And sure, you can give me $100 bill, and I will give it to her, and it goes in the bank. There's always, that's the only process. I have never in 4 years, 5 years, 6 actually, we count campaign years, I've never put a check in a bank. She's done all of it, so I do appreciate her. What else?
I got one last thing.
Okay, go.
So after the primaries are over,
Yes.
no matter who wins that governor's primary, and I think there's 4 that are rise to the top on that.
Yeah.
I will be behind that person 100%.
Me too.
And and I've had people say, well, I'm not going to vote for that person because his square doesn't fit my circle. Then you might as well vote for the Democrat and you get what you pay for. But
Amen.
I will be behind that person 100% no matter what, because it's down to my family came here in 1941
Yeah.
and it's my kids' heritage. It's your family,
Yeah.
born and raised here.
56.
Yeah.
Yep.
So, if I sound frantic, that's just because I'm holding back the anger. My wife says my face turns red on TV when I get mad.
I've seen
So
it.
I'm not going to do that. But we're to that point, folks. When that primary is over, get behind that winner and let's push them over the line.
Yeah.
Yeah, we have no Betsy Johnson this time around. I hope. I'm not even sure they can do a write-in at this point, but whatever. Which means we're going to have a Democrat versus a Republican.
Yep.
You got to get behind that candidate, and of course we endorse Ed Deal. If Ed doesn't win it, it'll be whoever it is.
Yep. And we'll back them.
Yeah, and
Just like you and your oh wait, you don't have one.
yeah, whatever. And Tracy just said vote or don't bitch, and she is not wrong. If you complain to me about politics and you don't vote, and I find out about it, you're not going to like the results.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's right. If I have to stand in a box to look you in the eyes, that's a short joke.
Mark, I want to give you a chance to have a last word.
Do I get one more advertisement blurb?
Please.
All right.
Yeah.
We, Looking Glass Brewery, just started serving our beer out of the Soup and Salad Shop in Roseburg, and they are fantastic. Their food is amazing. We
Yeah.
have 6 beers on tap, 2 ciders, a seltzer. We have wine, and we're open. When they're open, we're open. So
What's
5 days
what's
a
the
week.
name of it?
Soup and Salad Shop in Roseburg. They're on Stevens Street, 1810 Stevens Street.
Okay.
Yep, and they have amazing food, and we're so happy to be there.
I was so bummed I missed that. I was in a meeting last
It was
Friday
a
night.
great party, standing room only.
Yeah.
It was fun.
Yeah, Hectic Week was great.
They were awesome.
She
yes.
was on par, man.
Absolutely.
Well, Mark, I want to thank you again for joining us, and please
thank
come back.
Well, thanks for having me. I appreciate it very much.
And if as long as Justin's okay, we're leaving your sign up.
Ah,
It's going to stay wherever it
it's
is over
yours.
there.
It's yours.
I just I can't say enough about what you and Lydia and your staff have done for the community of Winston. I mean, you guys have brought. I gotta believe that a lot of the economy, I don't know what percentage it is, but I'm sure it's a double-digit percentage, happens because of you guys
Well,
in Winston.
Thank you. I appreciate
yeah.
it. We try and bring people into the town, and
Yeah.
hopefully they come in and stay for a while. And I tell you what, we couldn't do it. This business would not be a business without my wife, Lydia. She
Yeah.
does so much work. She's the backbone of the business. We've
Yeah.
had so much support. We have a great staff, a great clientele. So we're happy to be there.
And he's always there for us. Every fundraiser I've ever done. Mark, can you do beer tests? Oh yeah. When do I be there?
Yeah.
know?
I just
he
can't.
didn't say no.
I can't imagine. I can't imagine an event with you guys not there. It just seems like wouldn't be right. All right, Jack, you get the last word.
The last word?
Yeah.
Well, I just want to say thank you for hosting me. This has been a lot of fun. Mark, it's nice to meet you. I hope I get to
Great.
meet you here again someday.
Hopefully over a
And-
beer. Yeah.
Exactly. My hopes for Oregon after this election all the way. And if we don't win this one, let's keep fighting for the rest. Because like you said, let's make them fight for it.
Amen.
Yep.
And I'll tell you, like I've told everybody that comes on, pretty much everybody, you're welcome to come back.
Okay.
So if you want to come back and you have a message you want to talk about, or you want to wait till after the primary, whatever the case may be, please feel free to come back on, or call me, let me know, let that gal know, and we will schedule you in. So with that, guys, we're a little overdue, so I am going to say goodnight to everybody. Thank you for watching. Again, we're Amazon Music, Spotify, Apple Music, YouTube. There's 13 or 14 different ways to watch us. Please follow us. Every time you like our podcasts or go on and follow us, it just creates more momentum, and we continue to go on. We're going to keep doing this until people don't want to watch us anymore. Our intention to educate the public on how politics works, we're going to keep on doing it because we actually kind of like it.
Yeah.
It's been great tonight. Thank you guys all. Have a great rest of your week, and we'll see you next week. Thank you.